It's 4 o'clock.
Yeah, the voting has been stopped on the app. No one can vote anymore. And in the menu, Matteo, you should find a results link which appeared. So if you want to share your screen and kind of reveal
The menu from
Oh my god, and nobody has seen it. Oh my god, this is so like decentralized.
Let's have some drums.
drugs.
I know. Can you do the drums? Drums.
Okay. Wait. In the menu, I should have where again? Johan?
Yeah, if you go to
Results.
vote, yes, that one. Yes.
Yeah, in the menu there's a pizza.
Pizza, yes.
The burger. Yes, the burger menu.
You're killing us, Matteo.
I'm doing it. Okay, here we are. No one knows anyone. I'm totally unaware of what's going to turn out, okay? I think we have a critical mass already of participants, mentors. Shall I click or shall I go watching some YouTube stuff instead?
Maybe some advertisement.
Okay, is that... Whoa!
Woo! So you see the names on the left and the total amount of votes that they received on the right. And obviously there is a ranking made from that. These are only positive votes. And what we don't see yet is who kind of expressed how much intensity towards the different teams. So for that, we need to run a script on our side and give us like an hour or two to do that. And then we can show you kind of a graph for each of the submissions, how strong the opinions were in the voting. But for now, we just kind of have this overview.
Johan, do you have, before we go through the winners and all the others, do you have what I wanted to ask? It slips from my... Okay, what I wanted to ask was, do you have nothing? It will come back to my mind later. Okay, so Fanny, do you want to add something before we move on to the...
Yes, I want to add something. I always want to add something. Wanted to really say thank you to like all the hackers and the projects that were submitted. They were really, really good projects, and I know we have like 3 main prizes, but we're really gonna try to help all of the submitted project to thrive, and definitely this is, you know, like winning. So it's not like and like, you know, now let's...
Okay, Johan, do you know how many token holders voted?
Let me check that real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh no, first refresh. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I think 15 token holders voted in total.
Okay. That's... I mean, we had 68 token holders, so for sure someone totally forgot. And well, with great responsibilities, with great powers comes great responsibility. So it's this thing had to be taken seriously, and we did our best to advise and to notice everyone about, you know, deadlines and the voting power they had. If they didn't, it's not our responsibility. Go and ping them individually. But I would say let's go from the bottom. I would say, what do you think, Fanny?
Sure. Maybe Giovanni wanted to say something, like general comment, because he was also very much in charge of setting that up with Diora as well.
Yeah, thank you, Fanny. No, I wanted just to say that all the projects are great, guys, especially like the ones that the team that were built on during the hackathon. It's very accomplishments for us. Like but as far as also the presentations, the code, and everything, they are very very well done projects. I hope, guys, you will have the time, the commitment, the resources to work on all these projects and bring them to life.
Okay, so I would start from Donato. Is there anyone from the team who participated to Donato?
Yay. Bottom of the table.
At the bottom of the table, but not for quality. Actually, it was a very good project. Who's there? Is it you, Lorenzo?
I don't know if Rafael is online. I'm gonna ask him.
Hey, if all the people who don't have their cameras on, if you could just click on your icon and maybe give us a name, you can. If you click on your icon, you can enter a username. It would be cool to see who else is in here.
Okay, Rafael is watching, but he can talk as of now. So yeah, we're there's both of us.
Okay, I keep my camera on because I won't be able to talk to you, but everyone can just see the results on vote.ethturin.com by accessing it with MetaMask. And
You don't even need MetaMask.
you don't even need MetaMask. Thank you, Johan. Okay, so I would start by sort of introducing what the team from Donato wanted to do. Of course, you please, Lorenzo, kick in if you want to integrate. So Donato is, I would roughly summarize it as a proof of donation. So it's basically a system to make sure that the donations for charities, NGOs, etc., go to their final destinations. Whereas IBAN, yeah, you're right. Fanny is pinging me on Telegram. Yeah, you do it, Lorenzo. Sorry.
Okay.
Like, shut up, let him talk.
Okay, so as Matteo said, it's we wanted to build a platform that let the donors and the recipients of the donations have a clear traceability of what the donation are used to, and that donations are made directly to who wants the donations, which I think, and me and Rafael thought it was a pain point in donations, like earthquakes in Italy. There was a great problem that funds went to the Protezione Civile, but then sometimes never reached the final destinations. So one way to fix this is to pay directly the people that need funds. And so this is a big win for those who need funds, and there is also a win for those who make donation, because they can see how their money is spent, and how much of an impact they made. So yeah, what we built was just a proof of concept, but we want to expand it with other features like tree box for profiles of recipients of donations, so that users can have like a timeline of what their donations have done for the recipients of the donations. And we wanted also to decentralize more the the payment of gas for users, because one other selling point of Donato is that it wants to be as Web2, as we can say, friendly as possible. So we wanted to keep crypto out of the discussion for the users. So users can make their donations via MoonPay, so they don't have to use an exchange or something like that. Users can log in. Users and the recipients of donations can log in with Formatic, which is which we thought it was the most similar login experience to Web2 experiences. And so we wanted to create a very easy user experience. And yeah, that's all. We have nice ideas to continue, and excited to have participated. It was both for me and Rafael the first Ethereum related hackathon, so we're still happy with the results and the hackathon.
Yeah, I think it's a very good MVP as well. I think there's I mean, not from a technical point of view, which I'm unable to read through, but I understood that there's still a bit of point of failure in the final wiring procedure of the donations to the actually recipients. But that's something that, if reached, it's a great accomplishment. And I mean, congratulations for your work. Nonetheless, again, we just had 15 voters. If we had everyone, all the token holders joining, probably it would be different.
Yeah, a correction about that. I overlooked 10, so I think we had 25 in total.
Okay. That's more like a broader popular jury. Okay, thank you, Johan. Okay, we move to the second to last, Block Synth. Is anyone from Block Synth here in the room? Toc toc. No one. So
Who's here?
No one. It's okay. So basically, Block Synth is as I understood, is a DAO project for managing masks and valves supply by adopting augmented bonding curves, incentivization of capital. So basically, you know that sometimes capital and producers of pharmaceutical equipment, they have like a bit of obscure contractual agreements, etc. So basically, they propose this DAO for managing this supply in a clear and more transparent way. And I think they also are like mainnet or something, which is really good. So I think they're also connected to Commonshood, which give them a good point. But nonetheless, it's congratulations. Let's move on to the third to last, which is Holons from Hackathon. Is anyone?
Yeah,
from...
and I think just one thing. Just one thing for I think they're also gonna participate to the Gitcoin COVID-19 hackathon.
Right. There was also a track for Gitcoin COVID-19. Fanny, do you want to keep on doing that so I can take a break?
Yes, maybe just do the next one because I'm not logged in on the second one because my computer is acting weird. So maybe Giovanni, you are ready.
Okay. Holons from the Hackathon team, who submitted both for the main track, again, I guess for a governance SDG and also to the Diora track. Maybe Johan, did you have a look at this submission? Can you explain a little bit more about it, or shall we ask for someone from the team to kick in and tell us?
Is someone from Holland's team on the call?
It's not. So basically, what I understood from Holland's is a less pyramidal, is a way to create hackathons that don't have a pyramidal structure, a competitive structure, but rather an organic structure where basically all the tracks somehow influence each other, etc. We will publish all the material, all the links and repositories, so every one of you will be able to check this cool project. Also, I think that Holons is a project already running, and they are already running for certain things. They just did basically a submission for the Aura track, for the Aura.earth. And let's move to the next one, which is the Beetle team with a very cool project called SOS ETH Recovery Mode. Is Alessandro or Marco there?
Here we are.
Yeah, I'm here.
You both submit. I think that this was mainly a track for Ethereum 2.0, but nonetheless, I mean, you asked us as a team, and we said you can also submit it as a main track, no problem. So would you give us a few insight into your project, please?
Yeah, sure. I don't know, because we develop it just to play, because it's a feature that we have in the FO Hub. So we say, okay, we can do this for every smart contract in the Ethereum ecosystem, and so we started developing it. It's basically a simple front end connected to the ENS, and you can validate the human readable version of smart contracts on chain and not only on the Etherscan servers. So if in the future the Etherscan servers will fail for some reason, you can check and read the human readable code on the Ethereum virtual machine for every smart contract. So I think in the long run is something that I don't know, it's important for the entire Ethereum community. We never know.
And it's also the only project on mainnet. We have to mention that. And I truly believe is one of the top 2 projects in here, although it's not like 100% focused on sustainability, etc. But it is an architectural project that I really wish it will be picked up by the Ethereum Foundation as a feature. And you are already in contact with them, and guys, I wish you all the best for this one.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks.
We move on to the next one, which is TURIN, who proposed just for the main track a project called stake-based booking for local restaurants. Is anyone from TURIN in the room? Wait, I also think I muted someone earlier on because they were causing some noise. Rough, no, it's not that. Sorry, guys, we are. Okay. So basically, okay, let me just take my notes here on this one. So basically, TURIN created this stake-based booking for local restaurants to minimize food waste. It's similar to Kickback for those of you who know the system. It is basically stake value to your attendance, and if you don't show up, you lose your stake. The cool feature that they added, in my opinion, is that they added a reward system for clients who stake value to book restaurant seats at the restaurants and actually show up. So those who show up actually get shares of the stake of those who didn't show up at the restaurant. This is a very cool project that I think will kind of help minimize food waste for fooding in general, which in Italy is huge. It's really huge. I worked in restoration for half of my life, and it's huge. Food waste. So I wish TURIN all the best, and of course we can keep talking for further help, etc. I will move on to HAL. Is anyone from HAL in the room? ETH2 SID.
Yeah, I can speak for them. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. All yours.
Okay, great. Let me I don't see you anymore. Okay, now I see you. Okay, great. So basically, with these hacks, we want to demonstrate how it could be simple to use HAL as a platform to connect basically Ethereum with off-chain applications. So the idea is to try to find a way to let it be legal, a transfer of tokens. And the use case is a merchant that want to receive payments in crypto and needs to send, as soon as he or she receives the payment, a valid invoice, a valid Italian invoice. So basically, the project simulate this kind of scenario, and we leverage also ENS to store the personal information of the consumer. So basically, the flow is this following: the merchant sells something on an e-commerce or whatever. The buyer send the payment to the merchant, and thanks to the integration of HAL, we are able to intercept this event. And then with a simple script, we get the fiscal information of the consumer and compile an XML file that could be sent to the, Agenzia delle Entrate.
To your bookhalter, bookkeeper.
Bookkeeper. So basically, it's a cash register for small, medium companies in Italy.
I think this is one of the greatest projects. I mean, because it really help like connecting the Ethereum world with the more analogic reality of Italian tax administration. And I think there was still like, as I saw in the repository, it is yet to be validated. I mean, they are like disclaiming from.
You have to ask to your tax consultant that everything is completely legit, and then you have to manage basically the conversion between. We use DAI, but you can use a stable coin like URS for doing a euros transfer. The idea is that the merchant or the integrator for the you know how many companies in Italy provide software for managing basically the cash flow for small medium companies. In this sense, we want to demonstrate that you don't have to understand everything on Ethereum. You just have to configure a very simple trigger that send you a webhook, a notification when a payment arrives to your account. The interesting stuff is that we used ENS for letting the consumer, the client, to basically self-attestate their identity. So the interesting stuff is that we used Ethereum name service, the new feature, so basically that you can store any tax record for storing this kind of information. So we don't rely in any sense to any sort of centralized system, also for the identity.
Yeah, I also have notified Legal Hackers Torino with all the repository, etc., because Raffaele Battaglini, the representative of Legal Hackers Torino, was curious to know, and I sent him this one, and I said, "Can you also have a look and let us know, in the future how?"
Absolutely.
So that's
cool. So he's going to be suing you. You're going to get a lawsuit.
Yeah. But we are not scared. We are pirates,
we need them to prove. So let's move
You're
on.
like, congrats, the price of TURIN is a lawsuit. You're welcome.
You won.
Okay, folks, we are entering the podium. I would love to say that all the previous projects are it's the voters. There's no jury. No one had more power than anyone else. We all had the same voting power. It's just how we distributed that changed something. We didn't talk to each other. Everyone had their preferences. So it's there are projects who are valued even more out of the podium, but this is the result of this hackathon for its own purpose. And I would give the word to Giovanni to introduce the third winner.
Yeah, is the Glen Dragon, right? Wait, I lost the results page. Yeah, Glendra. I love this project, especially for the name, guys, and also because it's very it's linked to one of the main the main point of our hackathon that was on quadratic voting. Is someone from the project in the conversation?
Hi guys, John and myself here.
Yeah.
Hey guys,
Hello.
I'm also here, but I'll let the others talk.
Great job, guys.
Thanks.
Do you want to tell us a bit about it?
Yeah. If we go through and share a bit about it, Denham's going to share his screen if that's okay, so you guys can see it for those of you who haven't already checked it out. But the concept was quite simple. We wanted to bring community governance to wildcards, and that community governance has been orchestrated through quadratic voting, which we are super excited about. So quick bit of background for all of you to know. This guy, Glenn, over here is a wildcard, and that wildcard is essentially a non-fungible token that's hosted on this wildcards platform. And through essentially it being always for sale and a method called harbinger tax, which is also really cool, but not for now, this token raises money continuously for endangered animal conservation. Now, we want to decide which organization receives this funding of which endangered animal organization will receive this funding. And how we do that is through quadratic voting. So anyone who owns a wildcard, there's more wildcards than Glen the Dragon. There's a whole array of wildcards. If you own a wildcard, one of these NFTs, you continually get these ERC20 tokens that are minted and sent to you. And these are your loyalty tokens. And as you can see Denham highlighting there, he's got a bunch. And you can use these tokens then to govern the community. And through quadratic voting, you can vote for the organization that you believe should receive the funding from Glen the Dragon on a monthly basis. So on a monthly basis, one of our conservation partners will receive the funds from Glen the Dragon as quadratic voted by the community. So yeah, that's us in a nutshell. We're excited about implementing some community governance, using quadratic voting, also making a way for our loyalty tokens to be used, which we think is really cool. And yeah, again, for supporting a good cause, and that's endangered animal conservation. So if you have any...
I'd like to maybe quickly add
that's a very cool project
that I think is cool. So one of the problems with quadratic voting on mainnet is like Sybil attacks. So if you have 100 votes and you create 100 accounts, you can have 100 votes, whereas normally you're supposed to only have 10. So we didn't solve this directly, but what we have got is you can only vote if you hold a wild card, and you vote with tokens that wild cards generate. So every day that you hold a wild card, you get one voting token. So basically, if someone does try sort of a Sybil attack, it'll cost them a lot because they have to actually buy up wildcards, which is quite cool. And it actually stimulates the economy and raises funds for wildlife conservation. So I thought that was really neat, and I thought I'd highlight that.
Nice. So who's holding Glen then?
So Glen is... go for it, Denham.
right now, we've only launched him on the Gorelli testnet. And as you can see, since we launched our live site, you can see the main net Glen will come in the next 9 days, 2 hours and 24 minutes. So he'll be launched then onto the main net. But for now, it's just on the testnet. And I think I used to own it, but I think Jason might have bought it off me just on the testnet.
Oh, we are going to be ready in 9 days. Don't worry.
Yes, we all want it.
Very cool that you're using Gurley as well. That was born at ETH Berlin. So cool testnet to choose.
Yeah,
thank you.
No, but in general, I think that it was a good match between gaming, sustainability, and quadratic voting in general. So this was a really good project. So moving on to the second winner, Fanny, do you want to introduce them?
Yeah. So it's a U-Farm. Also responding to one of the city goal, which is local, sustainable cities and smart, and very local, as it was started in Torino and Italian cities to link together modern coordination, sharing seeds, and all of that with a decentralized database of all of them, like to find them. So I don't know if there are some people from Open Hacienda team on the call. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Okay. Hi. So yes, what we made in this weekend in this hackathon is to realize all the stuff to implement blockchain part. We did not finish yet everything, but we still have a working, let's say, prototype of a wallet that can be used locally or by or online. And I can just open it in the screen share. Maybe like.
Okay.
Oh, yes, this. Okay. So this is the work of these 3 days. It's connected to U-Farm XYZ. That is a census that enable people to register themselves and to make a census of the farm. We have some of these are fake, so we have to populate to make it working. And so you can check what is a farm. You can have a first view with some part here. I just put it in English. Okay. So I can check these. Urban farm has a surface that is result of the geographical mapping on OpenStreetMap tools, and some information that are declared in the moment when people realize the census. We think how to make the economy work on this, what a platform can do to support this urban and community farming. We think about a system of reputation. A system of reputation based on what we call plants that are a sort of reputation index connected to how many people are involved in your urban farm. So actually you can use this reputation index that is not possible to trade, but are calculated based on the interaction, and this is not based on what you declare. It's based on what happen in platform when user actually can check in as a worker, and so you are registered in the worker, or you can check in with other role. What is now a prototype tomorrow will be validated with more consistent protocol. Also, an investor is someone that officially invests, so we can check in blockchain. And a user is someone that, like a worker, arrive in the farm, so we can check with the GPS. and other system of local signature with QR or some kind of stuff. So we aim with this project to go and start offering to urban and community farming an instrument to receive donation. This donation can be made by smart contract that can also be customized geographically and can be made using information from Oracle. So you can ask to the Oracle, for instance, if you want to give donation just only to the farm that produce tomatoes, you can check what are the farms that produce tomatoes and give based on their reputation. So what we think is that plants generate seeds for each season, and these seeds are used to pay the work of people in the urban farm. And these people with the seeds can buy their own products. And so realize an economy that can be functional to the urban farm. Yes, about economy, it is possible, for instance, people work in an urban farm and invest in another urban farm. We are thinking about these scenarios. Anyway, the project is, the design is careful to let it open to local implementation. So we offer an instrument and start with pilot project as soon as we find different partnership on different places and urban farm.
Okay, thank you, Paolo. I must say, as a matter of public transparency, this is a project that I got involved into months ago as a social designer. So I gave them a good intensity, but of course I gave them much more intensity to say other projects. I have to be honest, and okay. But I'm happy that it got some traction from the others authors too, because it's a project that connects also to growing grassroots movement. So it connects to a community which is already doing the work, and not only crypto communities. So let's move on to the presentation. So to the third and to the second, we move to the first winner, to the winner of TURIN first edition 2020, and it's a very cool project. It's a cool project started by, I guess, a crypto newbie. I mean, she's a PhD, I guess, in neuro something. But I think is Bianca in the room? I saw her.
Here, can you hear me?
Yes, we can, Bianca.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, good. And there's also Nazareno, I guess.
Okay.
Join me in this project.
Where are you?
I'm gonna start. I'm in Brazil.
Okay. If your connection fails, then Nazareno, please kicks in. Please tell us about Ant's review.
Okay, so we wanted to tackle a current problem in academia, which is the fact that peer reviews that are an important, actually essential step for scientific publications are totally unrewarded, which means that scientists don't get paid for doing that and don't even get credit because all peer reviews are anonymous. And also the peer reviews are not, most of the cases, public. So not even other scientists can access them, just the editors of journals can read them, which is a huge loss, intellectual loss, I guess. And also the fact that scientific paper is a result of these huge collaborative efforts that is not just the authors who conceived the idea and did the study and actually wrote the paper, but also the people who check the work. So what we wanted to do is to build an incentive and a reputational protocol that could reward scientists for doing peer reviews, and at the same time accelerate scientific publications, because right now peer review can take from months to years before a paper is actually published. And this system is a bit changing. For example, now because of the pandemic, the COVID, people just decided to accelerate and take drafts of paper instead of waiting for studies to be published. But still, it's a huge, huge problem. And so the idea was to make the system more fair to the people who work behind and more transparent. And the name of the project is Ant Review, because we thought that the work behind a scientific paper is kind of like the work of many little ants in a ant hill, and where the whole is a result of the sum of all these micro contributions. And also it's a sort of game we wanted to, because it's anti-review, is like against the current system of review. And the main idea was to have this, basically authors can issue a bounty whenever they finish submitting a draft of a paper. And in a decentralized platform, anonymous reviewers can join and contribute by answering the call. And through the smart contract, if the conditions are fulfilled for the review, and the reviews are good, because otherwise people would just do that for getting the reward, then the reviewers get the prize, the token. And we also added an extra feature, which is the editors, but we have to think about it. It's not really essential, but in theory we would need these reviews are on the platform to ensure the quality control. And just to sum up, before I give the word to Nazareno, this was we thought of this project as a local to the scientific community, but its application should be universal to the whole scientific system. And I think it's a promising project, and we are very, very happy to have worked on it, and we hope we can continue working on that. Nazareno wants to show the implementation.
So before we give the voice to your colleague, I think one thing as a woman is that like a woman winning a hackathon is a great thing. So congratulations. Really, really making me very happy.
Actually, I didn't even want to participate. Actually, it's funny because both me and Nazareno were not really convinced about participating, and we really decided in the last moment. And so it's really funny. As I was the only woman, I said, I need to continue, I need to go on.
Of course. All right.
Nazareno?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
So it's been a long weekend of lots of fun,
sleepless,
interaction, sharing ideas, sharing insights from the scientific community to the blockchain space. And we'll try now to share my screen and to show you a bit presentation. So we tackled the issue presented by Bianca, and regarding the implementation, we implemented a proof of concept, a simple bounty-like smart contract. It's a truffle project. We used some tools from like truffle ganache, and also we used the last version of Open Zeppelin library, version 3, that has been released a few days ago. And with that, we act on some access management features to allow to separate the issuer role from the owner of the smart contract, and also a poser in the event you need to switch off the smart contract and to pose the functions. And then we deployed the smart contract on Rinky by testnet and built a DApp UI using Truffle React Box and also Rainbow UI for the graphics. And so it's a very simple proof of concept, and it's showed in the demo that the issue ant review function to allow the issuer to issue an ant review by adding an hash of the PDF with the requirements, and then a timestamp of the deadline and the reward. So for the next step, we were discussing lots of ideas around that based on my experience, my contribution, previous contributions. So the idea was also to add an ERC20 token, a native token called ANT, and to timestamp on Ethereum the PDF of through proof of existence, the requirements, and also the peer review to allow a kind of notarization of the documents, and of course storing everything on IPFS. Also adding a nice feature called via AdStep protocol, that you can anonymize your token. In this case, our token will become ZK-Ant. So there will be anonymous transaction leveraging ZK Snark via AdStep protocol, and also probably adding extra tokens as well, like DAI Chai, that can be also be anonymized. There is actually currently ZK DAI already implemented, and of course other features more like technical, like upgradability design patterns to allow via proxy to update the logical smart contract, and of course quadratic founding, Gitcoin-like for ant reviews, to allow the user also to vote for the best ant review, and to allow the price to get expanded in a grand fashion way, so that not just the best ant reviews are they get more funding, and they get more participation. And also there is like another thing we discussed about is Mimblewimble. We found a nice project leveraging Mimblewimble and AdStep protocol called Ethereum 9¾ like Harry Potter quotes. So that using the both project, you can create anonymous transactions on Ethereum. For the future post-hackathon, we hope you enjoyed our demo, our presentation, our white paper, and we'll probably pop in Gitcoin to proceed for further development, to get eventually to apply for Gitcoin grants. So you can find us there, and if we'll be successful, probably an ICO, but let's see. Thank you.
Thank you,
so much.
I think this was.
Congratulations! Awesome stuff, man. Really cool.
Yeah, congratulations, guys.
Thanks.
Yes. I think this was a very well completed track. I mean, it solves a problem, which is scientific publication that in many extents stand at the basis of policy makings in many, as we can see now. So depending on scientific publications, this is the route where policy making and all the lobbying somehow flies around. So it's important. It's a very root problem to address. I didn't. Did you say something about the audit process? Is there something that you will? Are you planning to do on solving that points of failure, on having or expecting the editor to be independent?
Yeah. So Bianca was concerned about this role in the system, and I mentioned how it works in open source software in general, and in specific in Ethereum, that when you code some smart contract, he has to be audited from an external party, and to have like to allow the user to be sure that the code is flawless, is secure. And at the same way, we will need an external actor that's an editor or to participate. So there are two scenarios here. One is the enter review. The author of the paper pays an editor by himself, or like, and then publish the requirements on the enter review. Or another way would be like to have another actor, like the peer reviews and the editors, to compete. But it's more that, in my vision, is more like an external auditor, an external part that have to be neutral. So, and then the publisher, the author can audit to one or two editors, but we'll see, because the platform need to be neutral, need to be incentivized to incentivize peer reviewers to do great job and to get rewarded.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, I was a bit concerned.
Yes, go, Bianca.
Yeah, I was a bit concerned because the problem right now is that in the current system, there are still a lot of peer reviews are vulnerable to a lot of biases. So even if reviews are anonymous and the identity of the reviewers is anonymous, there still could be some sort of dynamics in between. So I wanted to avoid some sort of centralization towards the hands of the editor, which has more power than the other actors. So yeah, I was a bit concerned about this. I still don't know exactly how we could implement it. The ideal scenario would be that somehow reviewers and editors are like the contributors in the platform, and they just, as Nazareno said, compete between each other. And I wouldn't favor a scenario in which the authors that issue the bounty could choose the editors, because then there could be some conflict of interest, but let's see.
Can I add something? So the best way, my vision would be to allow to create kind of another actor, an open editors that via also the quadratic voting, quadratic founding, they are like selected by the community of authors, peer reviewers, and community, and then they are like the other authors can use them for the so
Right.
it's incentivizing a creation of an open editor.
Right, or maybe it's just token curated registries where the community can stake value and decide if a paper is worth carrying on a certain direction. Because as Bianca said, I mean, this is scientific reviews that have more of a political outcome than the open source environment, I guess. So it's a bit more tricky connotations to it. So it must be well thought till the end. But guys, congratulations! I'm really, really happy project one, because I know.
Awesome.
I know it started from. So I think there's someone. I think I wanted to just end this winner part before giving the word to Michael, our host here. And I know that there's a project also that we just covered briefly, but it's an important project for Ethereum itself. And it's the project from Beetle, SOS ETH recovery mode. So I think that it's worth, they just took like 30 seconds. I think it's worth giving them like a few minutes to explain us a little bit more what's about. Okay.
We're in no rush.
Yes, sorry for before, because I was shy. I didn't figure it out. I can explain something about the project. So I think it's a little bit important for the Ethereum community, because, for example, when you deploy a smart contract on Ethereum, the smart contract, this version of the smart contract, I don't know if you see my screen. Yeah, you see my screen or not?
Yeah, it's good.
Okay. This version, that is the human readable version of the smart contract, is on the Etherscan server. Because the deployed contract saved in the Ethereum virtual machine is not the human readable one, so it's the machine readable one. So the problem is that if Etherscan for some ways will fail or it will be hacked, we can lost every information about human readable version of smart contracts, and that's bad. That's bad for the whole ecosystem. So for example, in the DFOs, we develop everything for to be managed by people anonymously without need to know each other, so they can build microservices-driven dApps without need to know. So a not well-known team can build a dApp. And so we have this feature that when you deploy a smart contract for a proposal, for example, you have to deploy it on chain via base 64. And so people can watch it directly, take it on chain. So we say, okay, we can do this for the whole Ethereum ecosystem outside of DFO. And so we create the emergency mode where you can easily, for example, this is a smart contract that is validated. So the hash of the on-chain version base 64 is the same that is in the Ethereum virtual machine. So you can take it, and this is the code directly from the chain, not from any server. So you can validate a smart contract, simply put it here, the address, and uploading the file. For example, this is the smart contract from ENS. So we can take the real smart contract on chain here. We can put it here, and you can start your transactions. That I know it's costly, but in some cases that can be very interesting. So you can start your transactions, and once you finish all of this transaction, you can have the validation. So this smart contract, for example, will always be validated on chain. And the interesting part is that right now is on GitHub because we did it 2 days ago, so it's very new. But you can create a front end, for example, attached to an ENS. So this front end take the smart contract hash from the Ethereum virtual machine and the smart contract hash from the base 64 on-chain version, and the front end say, okay, they are the same. This can be useful in, I don't know, next year or so. So this is why we did it. Thank you.
Okay, one more.
Thanks. I'm glad you went because it's. Sorry.
You go, Fanny. Yeah.
No. I mean, I'm glad you described it because yes, it's indeed very important, and we'll make sure to also put it on the radar of the Ethereum Foundation. Who I don't think Ken is on the call, but he's following the projects. So thanks. Is there anybody else who wants to talk about any project before we move on?
I want just to congrats to Nazareno about the project, and obviously to all the team. Basically, I voted for that proposal. I think that is it's something that I think academia is waiting for too long. I come from university. I have a degree in theoretical physics, and I know how could be painful to do all the process. And this is something that could be a very, very, very important application. If I could bet, I will bet on that project.
That's nice.
Thanks.
I think it's also due a little comment on the whole process from the guys who are actually supported us in the voting procedure. Diora, Johan, Max, Victor, is any one of you there? Or Kino?
Yes, guys, I'm here. I'm still here. Yes, quick shout out, of course, to all the organizers, to all the people involved. Great pleasure. I guess we found a great winner. And yeah, also shout out to Keno. Thank you for jumping in all the time, helping. And yeah, as you guys may saw, we have some higher gas prices today. So also shout out to LeapDAO and providing this plasma chain so we could do the quadratic voting on the sidechain. Yeah, guys, let's see what's next. And happy to be here and do our part. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I think this is this was really I mean, it started as a local event, but really became a global community event. And I do want to really thank Michael, Kay, his team of Interspace, Diora for making it happen. It was all like pretty new, and everything is a proof of concept. And so thank you guys for being part of the experiment, because, you know, we're all learning from this new situation that brought us to do everything virtually. And hopefully, you know, I mean, there's a lot to take from these 3 days and iterate on. One thing I'm very glad is to have been able to connect with all of you and you know, not have it as a watch only you know, email based event where there's no human interaction. So I think this is like, you know, I'll give a shout out to Michael on making this Interspace and Kai to make it really interactive. So thank you guys.
Thanks so much. It's kind of funny how it all happened and how quickly it all happened. Matteo and I had started talking before we chose to make non-con virtual, because we were just collaborating together and networking and just trying to get our, you know, our ducks in a row so that we could all like lock shoulders and do things together. And then it just like, wow, man, Austria shut down and we just had to do it completely 100% virtual. We were building Interspace to actually have it regardless of whether non-con was virtual or not. And so it was interesting that how it all happened and how quickly it happened and how many other things we're doing now. So day after tomorrow, we'll be doing the Solidity Summit. And we're going to be building an Interspace for status. And the people from Near Protocol have reached out that are doing Ready Layer 1. We'll see if we can do that in the time frame. So it just seems like Interspace was just right on the moment. And so we're just running with it. And so a great thank you to all of you for participating and iterating through this. It's amazing that it all works. Enough though about Interspace. I just want to say how awesome it was to meet a group of new people, man, that I didn't know were out there. And I guess you guys were all the reason that we all wanted to come to Italy and come to Turin, why we were all excited. So thank you so much for sticking with it and not letting go and just biting deep in and doing it, man. I look forward to meeting you guys all when we can start traveling again. Maybe DEF CON will happen and we'll see each other there. If not, it's even worth it for me to drive down to Turin from Austria sometime as soon as I can to meet you guys. I love Turin.
Welcome.
A last thing that I'd like to mention is, if you guys haven't picked up your Pope tokens yet, don't forget to post into the Pope channel in the Interspace, and Patricio will get you a Pope token out, whether you're an attendee or a hacker or an organizer, or I don't know, I guess there's 4 or 5 different Pope tokens you can get. You can get more than one if you're more than one of those things. And I kind of feels weird to like shut off ethturin.interspace.chat after the event. So Matteo, I think we should talk about keeping ETH Turin persistent and just repurposing it so that you can maintain relationships you know, going forward. I don't think that an Interspace is something that should be turned off. It should it should live forward and be used. You know.
Let's repurpose it then. Also, open call to everyone. If anyone has an idea for ETH-TURIN interspace.chat as a renovated space. And
so thank you again, everybody, man. Amazing people. This is why I do this, man. I do this because the people are so awesome.
Can I share an idea for interspace at TURIN and things?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of interspace, especially in these days, and I was at the non-con too, so I really enjoy it for two times in a row, and and I think it can be a good idea to have some kind of open source page where you can see every community there are on top of interspace, so you can enter and know other communities on top of it.
Yeah. So actually, we have that. It's just the base URL, interspace.chat. And if you go to interspace.chat, there's a link to ETH-TURIN. It's not linking to the interspace right now. It was just because we just forgot about it. But there's a link to non-con. There's a link to metagame. There's a link to ETH-TURIN. There should be one there for Solidity. But that's where it'll be, is actually Interspace will be the home where we're building communities, and you'll be able to click into different portals.
Oh, thank you. I will love this idea.
Right. So ending note, technical note for the podium winners. You can get in touch with Fanny regarding the prizes. And for those who...
the accountant.
Yeah, our accountant. And for those of you who submitted also for bounty tracks, you should already have your contacts to evaluate, if they've been taken and how much is that. Regarding the main track, Fanny is your referent. Is that it? Are we done? Can we go watch Twin Peaks now?
Thank you guys from Imperium Italia. This was an amazing adventure for us.
Once again, a few of you have reached out and contacted me on Telegram or on Twitter. Please, anybody else that hasn't done that, make sure that you're in touch with me on other channels so that we can stay in touch with each other. Yeah.
It's weird. It's gonna make me cry to close that window. I'm a very emotional person.
Yeah.
I'm actually, but it's okay. All right. Well, I mean, I guess we should exactly resume normal activity, and I'm not gonna miss waking up at 3 a.m. For adapting to European time, but everything else I will miss. So thank you again.
We will wrap up all the materials that it's been. All the materials from the conference. We kind of pinpointed some very nice links and concepts from the conference. So we'll try to organize all this material, which is also video. So we are looking forward from Interspace to send us these big chunks of 8 hours recording for us to cut into individual contribution and send them to you to spam around and use it for personal purposes. As I said, we will publish on our website some reviewing about the whole hackathon, some interesting links and projects, and we will try to just put all the projects all together. I really think that there's so much cross possibilities, cross-pollination possibilities between many projects that I have been featuring today. Up to you to sort it out. That's it. I can go.
Oh yeah, one last thing is that of course there'll be edited talks up when we get around to that too. So up on the Parallel to Polish channel, we'll have a playlist with all the talks from the 2 tracks for everybody. And give us a week or 2 on that, but then you can push your stuff out from what you did. Peace. I'll be the first one to let go. Not because I want to, because I'll just be the guy who does it. Okay. See you guys all. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Grazie, guys.
Thank you very much for this real. Bye, guys. Oh, that's a show here.
It's like we just lost you. Yeah.
No, he rage quitted. No.
He's like, no way, I'm just gonna do it for my friends here. All right, I'm leaving. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.